conflict with Iran may be over on April 9th. Analysis predicted the growth of Bitcoin to 200,000, and MrBeast is receiving questions from the Senate about whether he's going to sell cryptocurrency to children. So basically, we have a lot to discuss, but first let's take a look at the prices. Despite yesterday's fluctuation, Bitcoin has returned to $71,500 mark and is probably preparing to break through the level again. And purely from the point of view of technical analysis, we can assume that the price will go even higher, but we all understand that now everything depends on the news from Iran, which we will move on to in just a minute. Ethereum is also on hold at the moment. The price is $2,190, but as you will see in one of the news, it's too early to draw conclusions yet. US targets April 9th to end Iran war. According to UNET, the United States expects to complete the settlement of the conflict with Iran by April 9th. Washington designated this day as the day of the end of the war and plans to use the remaining 21 days for both military operations and negotiations, of course. The deadline is tied to Trump's plan to visit Israel to celebrate Independence Day on April 21st to 22nd, where he is to be awarded the Israel Prize, the country's highest state award. Negotiations between the United States and Iran may take place as early as this week in Pakistan. Trump himself, in an interview with Fox, admitted that an agreement could be reached in the next 5 days, but at the same time he threatened if negotiations fail, attacks on Iran will continue. And this can be a crucial factor for the crypto market. Mind you that it was precisely geopolitical tensions and surges in oil prices that had kept Bitcoin in a narrow range in recent weeks, preventing it from gaining a foothold above $72,000. If negotiations go according to plan and the conflict really ends by April 9th, we can expect a decrease in volatility in commodity markets, a strengthening of risk appetite, and possibly a new rally. If Trump changes his mind, though, or Iran does not make any concessions, we will face a continuation of the oil swings and hassle. In general, the next 3 weeks will be very interesting both for politicians and traders. Once Bitcoin closes weekly back above $74,400, it's running up to $200K. And the analysis under the nickname of Psychedelic gave a forecast that would make the shortest hairs stand on end. And he claims that to rally to $200K, Bitcoin only needs to close a weekly candle above $74,400. And if this happens, the most hated and confusing rally in history will begin, and which will eliminate a record number of short positions and leave aside the maximum number of investors. According to him, everyone is now convinced of the continuation of 4-year cycle, and the microcycle is actually in a completely different phase. Skeptics will come back when they realize that they made a mistake, and this will only increase the aggressiveness of growth. There is a more modest forecast, but it's also optimistic. So Michael van de Pope noted that since February, Bitcoin has been steadily forming higher lows, the great sign basically. He expects growth to reach from $77,000 to $80,000 while maintaining current positions. Wintermute analysis add that everything depends on microeconomics right now. If negotiations with Iran go according to plan and tankers go through the Strait of Hormuz again, the Bitcoin will easily test $74,000 to $76,000 zone. If not, we will look towards $60,000. So the coming days will be really crucial, and the main thing is that Trump doesn't change his mind about making peace. If you like my content, don't forget to like up this video and subscribe to the channel, and this way you won't miss the next news yourself and will help my channel grow. Warren requests information from MrBeast about crypto and children. Basically, Senator Elizabeth Warren wrote a 12-page letter to Jimmy Donaldson, or MrBeast. The bottom line is that his company, Beast Industries, bought the step banking application, which used to sell cryptocurrency to teenagers, if you didn't know. The senator's main point is that MrBeast himself boasted in 2021 that he had earned 20 to 30 times on Bitcoin and NFT. His company applied for the brand MrBeast Financial and mentioned the crypt there 4 times. STEP is an application for children under 18, and in 2022 it was announced and then quietly buried the crypto purchase function with parent permission there. But what's really worrying is that STEP works through Evolve Banking Trust, which had a major data leak in 2024, problems with regulators, and a scandal involving the freezing of millions of customers. So, representatives of MrBeast replied that they would check everything and act thoughtfully and according to the law. Retail traders fare worse on prediction markets than sports books. The Citizen study showed that retail traders lose more in prediction markets than in sports betting. From July 2025 to mid-March 2026, the median return for regular Polymarket and Kalshi users were -8%, while for bookmaker players it was only -5%. At the same time, small traders went down by -26.8%, but large players from $500,000, they turn out to be in the black +2.6%. And by the way, no one was in the black at sports betting, but the losses were more modest. The largest players lost only -0.6%. The researchers note that forecast markets attract a younger audience. 24% of Kalshi users are under the age of 25, which FanDuel has only 7%. And during the research period, Kalshi was downloaded 6.3 million times, and that means the platform is clearly gaining momentum. And the gambling industry fears that such services may cannibalize traditional bookmakers, and especially at the expense of really, really young people who first entered the prediction markets and then switched to sports betting. 1 month that Bitcoin outflows from exchanges have largely dominated flows. Analysts have noticed an interesting trend. Investors are withdrawing Bitcoins from exchanges in masses. For the past month, new outflow has prevailed, and even the surge in deposits before the March high of $76,000 had not changed the picture. CryptoQuant Stark Force calls this real accumulation. People buy coins and take them to cold wallets rather than preparing to sell them. Nikrak, director of LVRG Research, adds that such an outflow speaks to long-term plans and confidence in the fundamentals. BTC Chief Operating Officer Jeff May even noted that the crypto performed better than stocks and gold against the background of the Iranian events. Perhaps the Bitcoin is starting to work as a hedge against traditional markets. But not everything is so rosy. Analyst Mignalet from CryptoQuant warns of bull trap. According to him, the current situation resembles the range of $80,000 to $90,000, where growth turned out to be deceptive. The conditions for a bottom are forming, but there is still not enough liquidity for a full-fledged reversal. Any short-term rebound may turn out to be false, and Bitcoin is currently holding above $70,000 for the third day, playing off the news about the peace plan for Iran. Brent crude oil fell below $100, and meanwhile holders are hoarding, speculators are preparing for traps, and the market is just frozen in anticipation of news from Tehran and Washington. OpenAI will shut down its Sora tool. So OpenAI now has announced the closure of the Sora application, the very video generator that attracted a lot of attention at the start. In the first 5 days, it was downloaded 1 million times. It was faster than ChatGPT, but it failed to retain interest. The social network was conceived as an analog of TikTok with an emphasis on AI, and the main feature was cameos. Users scanned their faces, created deep fakes of themselves, and shared them for joint videos. The problem started quickly. The feed was filled with deep fakes of Altman, Martin Luther King, Robin Williams, and then people switched to copyrighted characters. And moderation couldn't handle it, and by November, downloads had peaked at 3.3 million, but by February, they dropped to 1.1 million. But of course, the technology is not disappearing anywhere. Sora 2 model remains, and it's now also available for a fee inside ChatGPT. And this is not the first project to be curtailed. OpenAI previously closed the instant checkout feature purchases in the chatbot, admitting that it underestimated the complexity of implementing transactions. So instead, they are now focusing on product search and comparison in a single interface. In parallel, new ChatGPT 5.4 mini and nano models have been released for tasks with minimal delay. In general, Sam Altman continues to experiment, and users get used to the fact that in the world of AI, success does not always mean survival. And that's all the news for today, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!